Hey, I'm Jerry Maynard. I have a question for you. Has entertainment defined Black love? Has music, art, plays, and movies defined Black love? Or do they simply reflect Black love? The ratchetness of some of our music, is it a reflection of our love style, or has it created a love style? I'm here with Soul Success, and I have Morgan Norwood with me, and she and I are going to be discussing Black love. Morgan, welcome back to the show for part 2 of Black love.
Thank you for having me again.
Good. Listen, we understand what culture is, right? And we're always talking about culture, do it for culture, right? And yet it seems that with our music, with our plays, a lot of times with our clothes, our style of clothing, especially people between the age of 18 and 40, is it a reflection of Black love, or have they created this whole dynamic of Black love where it is more ratchet than it is relationship?
I think you kind of have to look at that as a mirror. Mm-hmm. Maybe it started off one way, but you pulled the mirror up and you look at the mirror and the reflection may have changed. Mm-hmm. But now, as the reflection looks back at you, now you mirror that reflection, mm-hmm. and it goes back and forth. Okay. I think that's kind of a better way to explain how the culture has developed over the time. Maybe it started off as it was something that was purported onto people. Right. And then the people grasped onto it, and then it became that. Right. And then now it pushes back and forth in that type of relationship. Because
we used to say that art imitates life, mm-hmm. but it seems like art is really creating lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I mean, for example, the greatest, for successful business, most business people simply imitate that which is success. So if you have a Black woman with go-go boots on, shorts that we can see her body scandalously twerking and all that, and she sells 1 million units, then another woman's gonna say, hey, okay, that's the recipe for success. Mm-hmm. Rather than me being Whitney Houston, let me go and be this person. Mm-hmm. I'm shocked at Beyonce, because Beyonce in the original group, they didn't start like that. And it was like a female group that could sing. Mm-hmm. They had style. Mm-hmm. Hair was always done. Mm-hmm. And now I'm looking at what's going on. I'm like, even she kind of changed.
Yeah, I had to intentionally unfollow a lot of celebrities. Okay. A lot of shade room blogs-esque places. Mm-hmm. I just personally started to realize that, one, that's not a reality that I want for myself. Right. And two, I have to tote that line between idolization in my heart and admiration of these people. So I haven't followed for Beyonce in the last 2-3 years.
So when we see these images, right, of Black men and women, from the Black men and the way they're dressed, because I don't just want to talk about the women, but the Black men and the way they're dressed. The femininity of Black men now. I mean, this whole thing of grooming Black men, that it's okay to dress like a woman. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk about it, and if you get upset, put something into YouTube and comment. But men, would y'all please stop wearing these purses? I'm sick and tired of Black men wearing purses. Mm-hmm. It's not a mail bag, it's a purse. Okay? Get out your mama's closet, because you probably went back and found something in the closet, and then stop wearing purses. Mm-hmm. Get a book bag. Get a briefcase. Don't wear a purse. But so I'm sorry.
They call it fashion now.
That's what I'm talking about. Listen, when a celebrity has enough money and they're trying to get clicks and they're trying to be different, understand that's entertainment. Should not be your lifestyle. You got to go to work every day. Mm-hmm. you got to live. I'm not saying normal life, but if the basketball player decides to wear a dress in order to get attention and media attention, so they in turn can get more advertising dollars, I get that. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to be wearing that, because I can't go to court. I can't go to my job. You and I can't go and represent our clients. Yeah. With me in a dress.
You ain't lying. But I mean, we can't also ignore the question of what is the spirit behind that person to begin with anyways. Yeah. I think, have you seen the movie The Matrix?
Yes, of course.
I think people, they think they're woke. And sometimes, hey, y'all can say that I think I'm woke. Yeah. There's always way more to learn. But at the end of the day, a a lot of people are actually disassociated with what real life is. Mm-hmm. They're disassociated with the real war between good and evil. Mm-hmm. Because there's a motive behind everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And if people actually were way more aware of the creation of the world, where we are as in humans on the totem pole, mm-hmm. spiritually, mm-hmm. they would understand that there's a lot more things trying to work against us.
Yes.
And then they would open their eyes and be like, you know, why do we turn on kids' TV shows now on Disney and Nickelodeon, and they have 2 male parents, mm-hmm. or a queer or binary character that is a 7-year-old?
Yeah. Why
do we have that?
To normalize it.
In kids' shows.
It's to normalize it so that it is normalization of it for the acceptance. I'll respond to that because, and then I want to get back to the love. So in order to make civil rights really effective, we then demanded that we be on television in these sitcoms. Then we demanded that you would show a healthy black loving couple as opposed to just a black man's a pimp or a criminal and the black woman's a prostitute. We then demanded that you would have interracial couples because we wanted to normalize that this is okay. And by the normalization of it, that we're not just all poor, lazy, good for nothing because we're black. Mm-hmm. And the same thing is happening now, true, that the grooming of the acceptance of this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And so therefore they're putting it out there. Always look at the money behind the project. Mm-hmm. Who's the money behind the politician? Mm-hmm. Who's the money behind the product? Who's the money behind the movie? Mm-hmm. Who's the money behind Glorilla? Mm-hmm. Okay? Because somebody's putting up the money mm-hmm. for the videos, all that, and what is their narrative? I want to get back. I think it's to destroy the black family.
I think so as well.
I think it's to destroy black love. I'm talking about real, that genuine black love, so that we don't love ourselves, so therefore we can't love each other.
And also, if you can't love yourself, and if you don't know how to accept love, how can you accept God's love? Well,
the Bible says, how can you say you love me who you've never seen and hate your brother who you see every day? So there you have it. But I think that love also goes to experience as well as culture. And I will say this. See, I think that the culture, I'll tell you this. I'm single. If I date a woman under 45, that is a completely different experience than dating a woman 45 and older.
How so?
Conversation, expectation, subject matters that are of value, relatability. So if you tell them, so I went out with a woman, she's 31 years old, don't hate me. And so she's like, do you have the iPad thing for the car? And she said, I want to play Glorilla. I said, I never heard of her. She said, you never heard of Glorilla? I said, I've never heard. She goes, she's from Memphis. You should be proud. She's from Tennessee. She's made it, blah, blah, blah. I said, I ain't never heard of her, never heard a song. So we put the song on, and I'm like looking at her knowing every word. And I'm like, do you know what's coming out your mouth? And she goes, yes, blah, blah, blah. Glorilla is about, so like she said, this is about empowerment. I'm telling you, with this one, my date, this is about, I said, this is about ratchetness. She's like, no, it's about empowerment. And then she said, it is about liberation and empowerment for women. And I said, this is about the most ratchet, well, let me pause. Okay, most ratchet stuff I ain't ever heard. And I'm like, so you think this is empowering? So that's why I'm saying the difference. But let's go back to Black love. The experience is that's, I believe, and a dear friend of ours just told me about this, that when they were doing their screenplay for a movie that they're doing, that a lot of times when we're dealing with marriage, was the ultimate commitment in a relationship, like salvation when you give your heart to Christ, it is a lot of times fear is so interwoven in our experiences with each other. And that experience, a lot of times women are afraid of being hurt, women are afraid of being used, women don't want to be thought of as just another, piece of, and then men don't want to think of you using us, that you really don't have any interest in us. You may want to use us to make somebody else jealous, or you're bored, or you want to go have dinner. I had a woman tell me this. She was like, I'm going to be honest with you. And she said, Jerry, I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I like to go to all the new restaurants. So if you're going to take me out, we're going to go to all the new restaurants. And I told her, I don't care. I said, because I go to the same restaurant all the time. It's good for me to have a chain. But at least the expectation, I didn't feel like I was being used.
I think another thing you have to add in with the fear is fear of maybe duplicating things you've seen in your past with your family.
Oh, yeah.
For, like I said earlier, my parents, they split when I was 12 or 13 years old. Fear of going into a committed relationship and then it ending.
Yeah.
You know?
Betrayal.
Or betrayal.
Somebody cheating.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that people subconsciously are scared of, and sometimes very consciously scared of when they're dating. And I know I've been through a lot of relationship hurt, and that's why I'm like, I'm good on dating.
Wow.
However, then I have the other caveat of fear of, will I ever get married?
Right.
Will I ever be a mother?
Right.
Will I be a good mother?
Right.
Am I worth being a mother?
Right.
It's a lot of questions that me as a young woman that's 26 now, I do ask myself, because I'm getting into that age where it's just like, well, men may not find me favorable anymore in a couple more years, even though I'm very intelligent and I'm beautiful. But then there's another.
I don't know. I only see your soul. I can't see your looks.
Thank you.
I haven't even noticed.
That's empowerment right there. When you tell yourself and you know yourself is very beautiful, intelligent. Intelligence is empowerment.
Amen. Amen. Well, I look at it this way. That's why we have soul success. The very questions that you ask. Okay, one, you have to forgive and you have to be forgiven. A healthy, loving relationship will go only as far as your willingness to forgive and be forgiven. You have to then let go. Even though we don't forget, you got to let go. That is critical, that you engage and say, listen, John is not Jim. Jim is not Steve. Steve is not Todd. Now, when you, like me, I got it in a situation where all of a sudden it was like there was a consistency in the women I was dating in the result. So now I had to question myself. Why am I always picking the same type of women? Now I had to begin to change my mind. Okay, what's going on with me in my soul? What emptiness and void am I trying to fill by dating this type of woman when I should be dating another type of woman that will not cause me the pain that I've experienced?
Yeah, and that goes back to my original comment from part one of you don't even know where to find the love at. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
So do you think that now the culture purports that type of fear into Black love, where you're listening to the music or you watch it on TV and you're scared now of being portrayed because you see this so commonly in TV shows or you hear it in the music? Do you think the culture is purporting that fear?
I think it's a fear in this way. People are masquerading as something that they're not because they're fearful that who they really are is going to be rejected. So then they try to emulate that which they see on IG. I'm single, so when I'm talking to women, especially under 45, and they're talking about living their best life, that the girls are going on these trips and all, but you still got to come back home to your raggedy job, your raggedy car, your raggedy attitude and all that. Instead, why don't you spend that money on empowering yourself? Why don't you spend that time in getting better? Why don't you spend that time reading to grow? Why don't you spend that time growing your business or whatever, as opposed to escaping? And so I see that fear is this whole thing of, oh, I gotta be taking these pictures to show the world on IG that we winning. And I'm like, that's just fear. Yeah. Because the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. Because love requires ultimate vulnerability. And guess what? People don't like to be what? Vulnerable. And they don't like to be rejected. And so therefore you go on a trip that and I'm not trying to be funny, but a lot of times I see, and this is what I mean about masquerading. I feel for that. I'm not judging. I really do feel for people, I'll say people, who are taking pictures and they're in a private jet or they're at a restaurant and they're not the one that's paying for it. And yet they got the bag that they didn't pay for. Okay. They at a restaurant that they know they ain't paying for it. And they're in a country that they may not have paid for.
All expenses paid trip.
Right. But they're masquerading because they don't have the dude in the picture. They never had the dude in the picture. But they're masquerading that they're the one that's winning.
You know what the real gag is?
What?
Some of that is rented. You can go to LA, you can rent a jet for an hour now. You don't even need to get on it.
I know.
And fly anywhere.
I know.
You can rent all of this designer clothes now. So the gag is not even that you using somebody. Sometimes they just renting it for an hour. But you asked a very, like, I know it's rhetorical, but I do want to answer. You was like, why don't people, instead of spending money to escape, why don't they spend money to empower themselves and invest in themselves? The truthful answer is that because that's the hard task to do. Like, it's easier to live in fear. It's easier to sit here and say, I hate my job, but I got a 4-day vacation in Mexico in 6 months that I'm looking forward to.
Wow, that's powerful.
It's actually easier to sit here and be like, I'll be miserable for 90% of the 365 days than actively working and grinding to create my perfect life. Because people don't know what they want.
Morgan, I'm going to tell you this story just between you and I. Nobody else can hear the story. It's a secret. So, you know, I really, really fell for this woman, really cared about her. And she asked for a certain purse, YSL. And so I'm like, I don't buy those type of purses. How about I take that $4,000 or $5,000 and how about we invest that and then you can go and buy the YSL purse from the profit margin that you got from the investment. And so instead of using the principal to go buy the purse, we can use the profit to go buy the purse and you still got your principal, right? And she said, no. She said, well, whatever you want to buy me, just buy me. But you asked me what do I want. I told you I want the YSL. So I went and bought the YSL. Okay, now we're not together. And now I see her on IG with that.
Flexing with the YSL.
Come on. And so I'm like, okay, soul success. Jerry, get over it. Get beyond it. Get past it. So what? Move on. Get healed. Don't worry. But that's part of soul success is, hey, next time stick to your principles. You knew what the principle was.
And I feel like you would have rather been way more proud if she was on Instagram flexing with whatever results from what you invested in. Like, you know what? She's doing really good with herself. I bought her a $4,000, $5,000 course. And look at the business. You know what?
Or invested in the E-Trade. You know, come on, somebody.
You would be way
now
more.
Now that $4,000 is worth $6,000, and she made a $2,000 profit, which is a high, like 40% return on investment. That's what I was talking about.
I will tell you a trick, because I guarantee if you would have stuck to your guns and you would have said, no, this is what I'm doing for you, and you would have guided her through that, y'all probably would still be in a relationship. She wouldn't have went nowhere.
I like that.
Because women want that type of leadership. A lot of these women are out here half naked because they are like, no, I want somebody to put me in my place and tell, like, this may be a little unpopular opinion, but that's what these women want. They want somebody to lead them and say, no, sit down. You're not going to the club and eating Casamigos and chips this weekend. No, we're going to work on something. And if you would have pushed and said, no, like, I'm going to stick with my guns because I'm leading this relationship. And I'm going to invest in something that's going to work, that's going to make us some more money. Then it would have forced y'all to work together.
That's true.
And then y'all would have been building something way deeper than a family. It sounds cool and all, but that's the one thing that has me reserved to be a wife. Because if I'm sitting here and I'm going to marry you, I'm not about to sit here and just be a wife and a mom. Because I was way more before I became somebody's mother and before I became somebody's wife. But if we work together on something outside of a family, then that's deeper right there. That's purpose.
So ask me why I didn't stick to my principles.
Why you didn't stick to your principles?
Because I didn't love myself enough to stick to my principles. Because I wanted to please her. I didn't want to lose her, and I wanted her to be happy, and I wanted her to want me more, and I wanted her to say thank you for what you gave me, what I wanted. So I thought that she would then be happy, and I thought that she would then be pleased, and so I thought it would go deeper. And so if I stuck to loving me like I should love myself, I would have stuck to my principles. But because of my insecurity and fear, that's why. So Black love, I think that what we talked about culture and whether art imitates life or life imitates art. And I like what you said at the mirror is that the reflections are going both ways. And so that the art is, and the art and media and entertainment is impacting people in how they dress, how they feel, how they talk, how they love, and how they love. And what we need to do is we need to make sure that on the inside, when you're laying at home by yourself, that you don't regret trying to be something that you're not. Or that you did something that is totally out of character, or because you saw somebody else do it, You decided you had to do it. And my last point is, get rid of those male purses. Get rid of the man purse.
It's called a merce.
A merce.
It's a man purse.
Okay. I love our people. Stop. How to love. My name is Jerry Maynard. I want to thank Morgan Norwood for joining me for part 1 and part 2 of Black Love. And we want to continue to talk about how do we love ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you love yourself? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like yourself? I know with Jesus Christ, that I know he loves me unconditionally. He gives me grace and mercy. And that's what I depend on, my faith, that I know that whatever I've done, I've got to love myself, forgive myself, and forgive others and love others for what they've done.